You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, wow, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month last 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities, Thursday, August 6th. Thank you guys for joining us wherever you are and however you are taking part of the show. We definitely do appreciate it as well. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you're subscribed. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not subscribed, please do so ASAP. Helps us out a ton. And then go tell a friend or 2 or 10 about what we're doing each and every day right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Working our way towards 2,000 subscribers. That's the goal by football season. I think we will definitely get there. So if you have subscribed, thank you. If you have not, do so and help us out. Comment, like, those type of things, always appreciated. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us as well. We appreciate everyone that watches the show on there. Make sure you're staying interactive. We're already chatting on the chat as we speak. So all of my airheads, if you will, and Tony came up with that little nickname. I don't know if it's going to stick or not, Tony, but we'll see. But anybody who wants to hop on in, talk sports, that's what we love to do. So hop on in and join us there as well. And stay interactive on X as well. We appreciate you if you did that too. So we are streaming on the WHO Plus app. We do that each and every day as well, starting at 10 a.m. We appreciate our viewers in Central Iowa. Nearly a year doing it on that platform as well. So we appreciate them. That is for sure. And we're also available on all of the podcasting platforms as well. Wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off There with Matt Randazzo, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, put in Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and you can listen to this show and the shows from this week as well. It's been a busy week. We'll get to them in just a second. But coming up on today's show, a lot to get to. We have been blessed in this area with really good sports people and talented broadcasters, if you will. It goes from Don Sharp to Dan Burrich and Dan Pearson and Tom Cornelis, Jay Kidwell, Corey Kuffler. I'm missing some. I'm not going to name all of them, but we've been lucky. And we've had really talented broadcasters that have been born here in this area as well. And we're going to be joined by one of them coming up in just a little bit. Geneseo grad, Iowa grad, and Geneseo native, Zach Mackey. He's been the voice of Virginia Tech basketball and sideline guy for Virginia Tech football for the last 4 years. He is leaving Virginia Tech, and he landed a job at the Big Ten Network. We'll talk to him about what's next in his career, how he got there, his days at Iowa, what's next, all of those type of things. And what's cool for me is he interned for us at WQAD in the football season of 2014. And you could tell that. You could tell right from the jump. I always used to joke with Cuff that, when somebody came into job shadow or intern, those type of things, even to come in and work with us, you knew like in 5 minutes if they were in it for the right reasons and they were gonna work out. And Zach, you didn't need 5 minutes. You needed 5 seconds to know that he was, 1, really talented, but 2, an extremely hardworking young man. And he's doing awesome stuff. So Zach Mackey joins us in just a matter of moments. Really excited about that conversation for sure. Also in hour number 1 of the show, we will continue our high school football previews and take a look at Davenport North. North went 6-3 last year, made the postseason, and they were 3 points from beating the eventual state runner-up Pella in the postseason. Things will look a little different this year. They've lost some pieces. They've brought some pieces back. Adam Hite's excited about his team, and he should be. And we'll talk Davenport North football and the Wildcats coming up here in a little bit as well. And also, we've talked a lot about Iowa recently. We talked with Jim Madsen last week after Big Ten Media Days. Illinois athletics, busy as ever. You have David Mirkovic getting hurt recently. We'll talk about what that means, big picture for Illinois basketball. Things look to be just fine. Looks like he'll be back in plenty of time for the season. But talk a little Illinois athletics. A big old scoreboard that gets debuted this weekend down at Memorial Stadium, and the football season coming up with Brett Bielema and where Illinois will fit in this mix in the Big Ten. Coming up in just a little bit. So Mike Cagley from the Illini Guys, we'll have plenty to chat about with him coming up on today's show as well. So a loaded couple hours for you. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your work week. We're nearly to the weekend. Tomorrow is Friday. And of course, we've had some things this weekend that are busy as well. Don't forget, coming up on Sunday, from 4 to 6:30. We'll be doing our kickoff show with the View from the West at the Other Bar in Moline, 4 to 6:30-ish. Plenty of coaches, guests. You can go watch it live, speakers and everything, so you can listen to the show there. Godfather's Pizza, some Snoop's Chips and Salsa will be there as well. Drinks, all those kind of things. So come join us on Sunday. Really excited about that show as well. So that'll be making the weekend even busier. Don't forget, 1 week from tomorrow, August 14th, is Iowa Football Media Day. We'll be live from the practice facility at the University of Iowa. OTA from Iowa Football Media Day. Last year we did it. It'll be from 2:30 to 4:30. It will be a bunch of fun. Last year, Mark Ranowski, Kirk Ferentz, Addison Ostrenga, Nolan DeLong, Yossi Nabanessa. We had so many great guests last year, planning on doing something very similar this year as well. So mark that on your calendar, 1 week from tomorrow up in Iowa City as well. The news and notes from the day before we start talking to our guests and get into the show. Mainly, one, it's a huge football weekend. Hall of Fame game is tonight. Roger Craig, the Quad City native, will be inducted officially to the NFL Hall of Fame on Saturday. We'll talk to some people that were there next week and kind of get the aftermath of what promises to be a special day for Roger Craig as well. So we'll do that coming up after the weekend as well. So keep an eye on that this weekend. And also, the Cubs continue to win. PCA, 2 more homers. He's not just in the conversation for the MVP. He is, in my opinion, the front runner for the MVP right now. Obviously, he doesn't pitch. So, but if we're going to give it to a guy who hits and pitches, there's only one of them, and he does it every year at a good level. So you'd give it to Ohtani every year, and he's obviously amazing. But the Cubs sweep the Dodgers, playing really good baseball. I think it's still 5.5 back of the Brewers. I should have looked. I saw they were winning 3-0 last night when I stopped kind of watching baseball. So the division is still there, work to be done with that, but entrenched in the postseason with the wild card, it looks like the Cubs will be playing meaningful baseball. So will the White Sox as well. As that's the way they're trending. So should be a fun October in Chicago of baseball, and good thing, because I think the Bears are going to suck. So no, I'm kidding, Bears fans. Just we'll start those arguments coming up in the next couple weeks and months as well. So we want to start today's show with a familiar face in the Quad Cities, a familiar face to Geneseo as well, and a young man that continues to work his way up in the world of sports broadcasting. And joining us now, in my opinion, a young man that's way more talented than I've ever wanted to be. Zach Mackey joins us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Hello, congratulations. The Big Ten Networks, Zach Mackey now.
Yeah, that's right. That's a little different to hear, but thanks, Matt. I appreciate you having me on. It's been cool watching you do this and get this off the ground and get this running, and it's just cool for the Quad Cities to have something like this.
I appreciate the kind words. You are out at Virginia Tech for one of your last days as a resident of the state of Virginia. Obviously, fantastic news. You were the voice of Virginia Tech basketball. You did play-by-play, or you did sidelines for football. You've been there as the director of broadcasting for 4 years. Obviously, you loved where you're at. New opportunity. You've done some things with the Big Ten Network. Tell us what's next in the chapter of your career.
Yeah, it's been great here at Virginia Tech. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, especially on like the business side of everything and the affiliates and contracts and different things that go into it, not just the play-by-play stuff, but I kind of have had an itch to try out the TV side and continue to pursue that. The last couple of years now, I've done a couple of events with BTN, but I grow single year a little bit more, and it just luckily worked out this summer that we're in a position where they're able to give me enough games for me to move up to Chicago, up where their studios are, and be able to get a full slate of games. So I'm excited for it. It's leaving Virginia Tech, but it also gets me closer to home, which is Geneseo, and it brings me back to Illinois, and it gives me an opportunity to get back in the Big Ten and to do television. So it worked out, really the right timing, the right place, and I'm really excited for it.
kind of tell us about what's to come at Big Ten Network. Obviously, you've done basketball for a while. I'm assuming you're going to be doing a lot of that. You started, we'll kind of go back a little bit in a second, but you were the voice of Iowa baseball while you were at Iowa, and then kind of during the summers you'd come back, or the springs you'd come back and do that as well when you're at Montana State. What's it look like? So you have experience in everything. What's it look like at the Big Ten Network right now? How will they be using you the next college sports season, I guess?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of different sports, and I've got a lot of them on my plate coming up here. So I'll actually start. My first event is going to be 2 weeks from today with women's soccer. So I'll do a lot of Olympic sports throughout the fall, soccer, maybe some volleyball and that. Still got to get the full entire schedule, and then hoops in the winter time. Some wrestling again. I've been doing a lot of wrestling with the Big Ten Network, and then baseball and softball throughout the springtime too, to kind of round out that schedule. So I'm excited to kind of learn and get some of these sports that I don't have a ton of experience with here lately, like soccer, volleyball, some of those, and get an opportunity to be able to get those going. But yeah, it's interesting, when you think about Iowa baseball and starting there. I give a lot of credit to Coach Heller and giving me an opportunity in that, and really got me in the door, and luckily helped me get to a spot where I'm able to get to BTN now.
Zach Mackey from the Big Ten Network joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Zach, you look at it and it feels like yesterday, but and I don't know, do you still have on your resume, does it lead with job shadow / intern at WQAD 2014?
Yes.
I mean, is that the first thing you lead with? And it's an amazing journey. Let's start going a little bit through the journey. It seems like yesterday, but it was 12 years ago that I think your dad got a hold of me and was like, hey, my son's super interested in this kind of stuff. And I'm like, absolutely, Fridays are busy. It goes back as far as that. I have nothing. I didn't teach anything. I probably taught you the bad things to do, that type of stuff. But when did the love of this kind of stuff happen for you? You knew early in your life, in high school, maybe before, that you liked doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I was lucky. My dad was the high school athletic director at Geneseo, as you know, and it was really one of those things. He was like, a tournament, a Thanksgiving tournament. He's like, we need a PA announcer or something. I'm like, I'll do it. So I did it. I really liked it. We had Channel 50 in Geneseo, like a local access that did the football and basketball. So I would get opportunities there, and it was right when streaming was kind of starting to become a thing whenever I was a junior, senior in high school. So we started kind of trying to stream some of the games. And I remember back it'd be a big game and we'd have internet problems because internet was still somewhat new. And these schools wouldn't give you their internet thing because they thought you'd hack in. And, it'd be a big game. And my dad would be like, what? The game didn't even get on. It didn't even stream. You sat up there and, there were instances like that I know that happened. But no, it definitely started back, in my time at Geneseo. They have a radio station there on campus too, which is cool. Me and my buddies would host a Friday morning radio show and just kind of get opportunities there. And then, I can remember on Friday nights riding around with you, and you would sometimes drop me off at a game at Brady Street Stadium and be like, I'll pick you back up in 30 minutes, get as many highlights as you can, and come back in there. But it was like craziness. I mean, I can remember you it'd be like throwing papers as soon, and then it'd be like, and we welcome you to the score, whatever. And then it's craziness it was just cool to see all of that, everything that goes into it. You and Corey are real pros.
I remember telling Corey, I'm like, we got this kid's in high school and he's shooting better video than some of the other people. I mean, no offense to anybody else listening to this. You all shot great video. But it was not very often could you drop off probably a senior or junior in high school at Brady Street Stadium. I think to today, and I'm like, probably we broke 5 different rules about high school using the equipment, whether you drove, whether you didn't, we'll leave that off to the side. I guess the statute of limitations have expired on some of that stuff. But you could tell. I remember saying to Corey, he's not just a hard worker. He's talented. He's good at this. And we watched you go. University of Iowa, obviously super important to you. You got there and you hit the ground running. And that's one thing in this business. And I'm sure you would tell young people this now is get out there, get experience, do as much as you possibly can. That was probably your attitude going to Iowa as well, is get in there, get as much experience and be a yes guy. Get as much experience as possible with this. The only way to get good at this stuff, and I'm still waiting to get good, is to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, I have kind of prided myself on saying yes to just about everything and not being afraid to kind of do different sports, new opportunities. You know, when I first got to Iowa, one of the first events I did was Iowa women's soccer on BTN Plus. And it was, a Tuesday to open up the season or something. And after that, they actually emailed me after that game and said, hey, we have a job open for the voice of Iowa volleyball. Would you be interested? And I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely, on the radio. But I didn't know a ton about volleyball. And so the meeting was Thursday, I think, and I was all excited for it. And then Wednesday, they canceled the meeting. And I'm like, what happened here? They're like, oh, we found someone who is not a student, so we don't have to get them out of class and they can do it and everything. And I was like, oh, geez, well, if anything opens up, well, then they're like, well, actually, Brent Balbinot was doing women's basketball. And they said, well, he also does baseball and it overlaps for 5 weeks. Can you fill in for those 5 weeks? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And, that is kind of what grew into the Iowa baseball thing. Brent left to go do the Toledo job, and then the baseball job opened up. But I do think it's important in this business. I mean, as you know, like you got to put yourself out there. You got to say yes, because you don't know when opportunities arise.
You look at it, we mentioned the University of Iowa, you mentioned Brent Balbinot, a great guy. Obviously, you're around that university, you know the guy. I mean, I think it's year 30 for Dolph this year at the University of Iowa. The people at the university, and you mentioned a couple, but like Dolph's and those guys. I mean, Dolph is somebody for me, as a TV guy here, was always very welcoming. And then I start this year with the pregame show, and while he loves to give me a hard time, he's always helpful and ready to rock. Talk about the people at the University of Iowa that helped you in a journey as just a student, and I'm sure probably still support and cheer you along the way right now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I put the post out. I know there's plenty of people from Iowa that, have interacted and texted me and said things. And I just, like I think I already mentioned, Coach Heller was great at Iowa. I mean, he was such a resource and everything. Dolph was great. I can remember that Dolph I was a young guy, and I hosted the pregame show like you, and the postgame show. And I remember there was a 15-minute slide they were doing. So we were going to add 15 minutes because of the game in front of us. And I was I think a junior in college, and I was talking about it. And I said, the game's on Fox. It's getting a 15-minute slide or something. And I can remember next week, Dolph saying, hey, maybe when we're on the radio broadcast, don't promote the television, what time television, what network. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. So he was always great. One of the craziest stories was when I was a junior and Iowa was playing Drake. It was it was like the Iowa shootout. Iowa State was playing UNI, and then Iowa would play Drake after it. And it was in Des Moines and Wells Fargo. And I get a call 2 days before. I had a final, I remember. So I was up early, and I got a call from Gabe at Hawkeye Sports Properties and said, hey, Dolph slipped on ice, tore up his knee. We need you to do the basketball game in 2 days in Des Moines. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm there. Like, that's craziness. But, no one knew in the end that Dolph fell on ice. Jim Albrecht was down in Aruba. Rob Brooks already had the shootout. I was like the fourth or fifth guy down on the list that they got to finally to be able to do it. But no, I mean, they, everyone at Iowa gave me opportunities always. And I'm very, very thankful that I went to Iowa. It was one of the best decisions I did. And it definitely set me up for the rest of my career.
Zach Mackey joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. You look at it, I know you went to Montana State for a little while, then eventually to Virginia Tech. Talk about, because like I've always would tell young people that came into WQED, I did things a little differently. And not that I was ready for WQED from the jump, I wasn't, but I worked my way up at WQED. And a lot of times you can do something like that, or you can go sow your oats, if you will, and then come back or get to where you want to be. But I know you love Montana. I know you love the area and the opportunity that they allowed. Was that something when that comes along, you're like, I absolutely have to do this? And talk about your time in Montana a little bit.
Yeah, I can remember interviewing for it and telling my parents, like, yeah, I talked to, the people out in Bozeman, Montana, and they were like, what in the world? What is this? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. And then I went out there and interviewed and talked with everyone, and came back here and was trying to decide if I was going to do it or not. And I'm like, these opportunities, Division I play-by-play jobs don't, I mean, I think there were 2 open that cycle. Like, they just don't come open very often. I had no idea where Montana State was in relation to Montana. I didn't know anything about Montana. Honestly, the only thing I knew about Montana State was Tyler Hall was their all-time leading scorer and had just left whenever I was going out there. And it just ended up being the best decision I ever made, going out there, getting opportunities. It was, a young athletic department that was really on the rise. During my, final year, they went to the FCS national title game. They made the NCAA tournament. They just won the FCS national title game over Illinois State last year. So they've just, had kind of a meteoric rise these last couple of years. And it was even like some of those Iowa connection. Leon Costello, the athletic director, is a Des Moines guy, and went to Loras and everything. So that kind of helped that connection. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. There's still friends that I have from out there. It just gave me an opportunity to be able to kind of cut my teeth, make some of those mistakes, but yet, be at a place where people care. That's really what, when you're doing this stuff, and that you want to be around places and teams where people care. And they definitely did there at Montana State, and they definitely do here at Virginia Tech.
You look at it, and I know with his business, you love doing it. You get busy. The family side of things or the off the field type of stuff is sometimes you get so locked into what you're doing. It's difficult. Luckily, you found a lovely lady that actually settled for you because she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And now you got a kid on the way as well. So kind of talk about that, because Virginia Tech was good to you several ways, not just a job, but provided you a fantastic life partner, and obviously a little baby girl on the way in October.
Yes, that's right. Yep, a girl on Halloween coming up. So it's going to be here before you know it. Nothing that you know about, though, over there at the boy household. Yes,
right. I'll trade you 2 boys for a girl right now. Right now. We won't even talk. So obviously the family stuff's got to be great too.
Yeah, no, it is. And, the funny thing I was thinking the other day, like when I came to Virginia Tech here, my life was a lot different than when I'm leaving Virginia Tech. And actually one of my coworkers here at Virginia Tech, he and his wife introduced me and my wife. She lived down in Charlotte, and we were on a work conference, and we were down in Charlotte for a retreat, and we just met, hit it off, and we got married a year and a little more than a year ago, last May. And we've got our first kid coming in October. So when I told my wife, I got a new job. We're moving to Chicago. You're almost 30 weeks pregnant, but we got the movers coming to help us. So that's
good.
ideal.
Don't let her lift a thing, obviously, and treat her like a queen, especially these next 10 weeks as well. Super, super exciting stuff. I got to talk to you a little basketball, because you were just the voice, and you're going to be doing a lot of basketball at the Big Ten Network, and the Big Ten's a fascinating situation. I want to bring it back to your alma mater, from afar, watching Iowa basketball. And I mean, you were there during some great years as well, and watching what Iowa did under Fran. I guess we'll start before we talk about let's start with the Elite Eight. As a Virginia Tech guy, and obviously focused on that, were you able to watch what Ben McCollum and the Iowa Hawkeyes did this past season, and your thoughts of year one, and finally not just getting to the Sweet 16, but getting to the Elite Eight as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what Ben McCollum's been able to do at Iowa, and what he's been able to get people really excited about Iowa basketball, and reinvigorate that fan base and everything. I mean, it's quite the run. There's nothing like the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. And making a run, you don't know if tomorrow's promised, what's going to happen, where the matchup is, but everyone's behind it. It was impressive. I think the cool thing about him and what he's been able to do is that he just wins everywhere he goes. It doesn't matter, what level it is, where it's at. He's found a way to win. So I just think it's really cool to see the fan base get behind Iowa basketball and really pour all into it. I mean, I'm excited about too, seeing it was announced that Virginia Tech is coming to Sioux City and playing Iowa in a non-conference game, I think in November, in the middle of November. So it was like worlds colliding whenever I first saw that. But
would be a good game for you to call. If it's on Big Ten Network, I'm just saying it'd be an okay game for you to call.
No, I'm the low man on the totem pole, but I that would be a cool one for sure to be able to get. But no, it's been impressive. I just think that, the Iowa fan base reminds me a lot of like Virginia Tech, where they pour in. There's no pro sports in the entire state. It's all about, Virginia Tech, and it's all about Iowa State, Iowa. And to just see the fan base have something to be able to cheer for, get behind, and an Elite Eight run, it was really impressive.
Do you have a favorite Hawkeye memory while you were there? Whether it's on the baseball, whether it's basketball side, some football game you were at. It doesn't even matter if you were on the call or not. Do you have a favorite Hawkeye memory or two from your years at the University of Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at Iowa too, I worked in football in recruiting. So I was in the football offices. And whenever Iowa beat Ohio State, put the beat down on and stormed the field, and it was like 52 to I can't remember the exact score, but I mean that was an incredible night. That was just like insane. I think no one saw that coming out of left field. Just a total beat down in Kinnick Stadium. That was one of the highlights and one of the top ones. On the baseball side, I'll say. Whenever my first year doing Iowa baseball, they won the Big Ten for the first time in program history, and won the Big Ten championship. That was definitely a cool moment.
No, absolutely. Zach Mackey joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Some dumb questions before I let you get out. You're a Geneseo kid. When you're back in the Quad Cities, whether it's Geneseo back here in the Quad Cities, whatever it's at, what do you miss food-wise? Like, what's the places like while I'm back home, I need to check off a couple boxes, either Geneseo back here, for your culinary delight?
Yeah, I don't want to step on any of your sponsors or anything.
No,
like
you're
that.
good.
But I will say, we always want to stop at Adolph's in East Moline.
Yeah.
That's always on the top of the list. Happy Joe's is up there, and then also obviously Whitey's is one of the top spots. I will say I'm very excited about being next to a Culver's and a Casey's gas station. We don't have any of those out here in Virginia, so both of those are pluses.
See, the little things. Who would have thunk it's the Culver's and Casey's that I'll tell you this, and you're probably still too young. There used to be an Adolph's in Milan. And that was it. Like every birthday that I had, my parents would take us out to dinner, and I would go down there. And they opened up an all-you-can-eat taco bar. So I went there for my birthday one time. I don't know why I'm telling the story, but I had 9 tacos. And they're not just like the tacos you get at like Taco Bell or whatever. I mean, they're big tacos. And we went and took my grandma home over in Davenport, and not because it wasn't delicious food, but I got sick at my grandma's because I had eaten. I probably ate my age. I was probably like 11 or 12, and I had like 10 tacos. So fantastic food at Adolph's as well. If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
That's interesting. This goes back to your old TV days, but I always thought it would be interesting to be a weatherman and kind of do the weather on TV and do some of that. I always thought that would be kind of a fun job, but then I saw all the science that goes into it, everything that goes behind it, and wasn't really for me.
What I don't understand is that, like, I'd always say, and I love our weather guys, and Jay-Z, David Paul, some of my favorite people in the entire world, like them all. But Terry Swales was always great to me. But like they would get like forecast. I mean, they weren't perfect. They're really good, but they get something wrong, and like it'd be no big deal. But if I messed up somebody's last name, like if it was like Herkakovic, they'd be like, you didn't get it right. It was Mirkovic. And I'm like, what? Come on. Like, so that's what they would never get emails complaining because I mispronounced names. And I always did as well. When it comes to if you could have dinner with anybody in the entire world, whether it's somebody in the sports realm, whether it's in the broadcasting realm, whether it's in just a completely different realm, if you could have dinner with one person and have a great conversation with them, who would it be?
Wow. One person that I could have dinner with. Wow. It is interesting. I would probably say, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that someone who's very opinionated, but seems to have a lot of really good opinions is Nick Saban, and everything that he says on College Game Day, it seems like makes sense in that. So, I mean, I think picking his brand would be really cool. Someone who's done it successfully, but then also like when he was really at one of his heights and that was able to give it up and move on. I feel like that adds to the lore almost of his reputation.
Absolutely. Last one for you. Not a goofy question, but you've mentioned Geneseo. You're a Geneseo grad. I think the community of Geneseo is an amazing community. There's a ton of them here in the Quad Cities, and that's one of them. How impactful was that community? And you mentioned moving closer to home. Like, that's probably part of it. You like to be around home. How impactful was the community and Geneseo itself in your growing up and where you're at today?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was the best place to grow up. I would never, I mean, it was, it definitely formed everything I feel like in my career and who I am. I mean, it was just something about like being able to go around town, and if you walked in a place, you would know somebody. It didn't matter like, where it was. It had the small town feel. You were 30 minutes away from the Quad Cities if you wanted to go to the mall or something like that. But, the people around Geneseo, I think, really back their own and really get behind and want to be able to champion people. And I loved growing up in Geneseo, going to Geneseo High School. It was a really good experience, and I had a great time with it.
Absolutely. Well, we are proud of you. It's awesome what you're doing. Can't wait to continue to follow your journey. Tell your dad I said hi. Make sure enjoy your day of moving. This is the easy part of your day. Hopefully,
Right.
Hopefully it wasn't the bad part of your day. And if it was, I'm sorry. And we'll catch up again real soon. Congrats, my man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.
Awesome. That is Zach Mackey, now with the Big Ten Network, former voice of the Hokies out of Virginia Tech, and of course, maybe most importantly here, a Geneseo and University of Iowa grad. It's been awesome watching his journey, and the fact that he graduated in 2014 and he's doing what he's doing now. His future is so bright, and I'm extremely happy for him. We got more to get to. You're watching OTA. It's a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. Hawkeye fans, football season is quickly approaching, and only one place can get you game day ready. The Black and Gold Shop is your official retailer of Iowa athletics. The largest selection of Hawkeye apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and more from top brands like Nike, Champion, and Under Armour. And your purchases directly help support Iowa athletics. So stop by one of their 3 great locations in the Quad Cities, Coralville, or West Des Moines. Or shop anytime at blackandgoldshop.com. The Black and Gold Shop, your official apparel provider of Iowa athletics. For over 65 years, Lindquist Ford has proudly served the Quad Cities, and they're just getting started. Looking for a new ride? Check out a healthy mix of new and quality pre-owned vehicles ready for you. Need service? Skip the waiting room. With free pickup and delivery and mobile service, they come to you. No delays, no hassle. From routine maintenance to a full-service collision repair shop, it's fast, friendly, reliable, and always transparent. Lindquist Ford, serving the Quad Cities since 1959. Experience the difference today.
Hey, I'm the Crawford guy.
Ooh, do you guys always speak at the same time?
Sorry, guys. I'll go first. If you need help with your heating or air conditioning, or electrical, or plumbing, Crawford Company can solve your problem.
But what about your problem?
What problem?
Do you not hear yourselves? Take it from me, the Crawford lady.
And me, the Crawford guy.
Crawford is the comfort company.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. High school football season is coming quickly. We've been starting our high school football previews here on OTA, talking to coaches, and we'll do that over the next 3 weeks as we get ready for the high school football season. It's 2 weeks away from tomorrow on the Illinois side of the river, and then 3 weeks away on the Iowa side of the river, unless you have a week 0 game, which Assumption does. Davenport North and other schools don't, so they'll be starting up on week 1 as well. But it is coming as fast as ever. Best time of year. Joining us now to talk a little more about some high school football and Davenport North is our good friend Adam Hite over at Davenport North. I apologize that you're second. You should have been the first Iowa side coach. That's on me.
It's all good. I get it.
I had to go with the Catholic guy. I got to make sure everybody Catholic side is figured out. First and foremost, the season is coming quickly. What's this time of year like? I know you guys are in camps and getting ready for the season. Practice probably starts for real, I think, Monday, next Monday. What's it like this time of year? Because a lot of work goes into the off season, and now you got like that little sprint as you get ready for the regular season to begin.
Yeah, we were talking today because we're in our camp phase right now, so we're only going Monday through Friday. So like I was talking to the players today about building our bodies up now. So we went basically all of June, all of July was just 3 days a week. This week we're getting to that 4 days a week, and then next week's like our hardest week of the year, and we do a full 6 days. We'll go Monday through Saturday. So it's just kind of letting them know like, hey, we're building up to it, and then we kind of back it back down, and we'll do our 4 day week practices with a game on Friday because we scrimmage Dubuque Senior the following week. So it's just getting their bodies ready to go, and for us coaches, just slowly implementing a little bit more every day, and making sure we're ready to go for that week 0 scrimmage that we got, or that week 1 game against Muscatine.
Adam Hite joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. I want to mainly focus on this year, but I can't talk to you without talking about last year because it was another fun season for Davenport North. 6-3 in the regular season, make the postseason. Boy, a heck of a first round battle with eventual state runner-up Pella. Nearly got them, lost by 3. Obviously, it was special to go through, and I know you're proud of that group. It also has to get these guys hungry and also confident if they look back and see what they did last year. The returning guys that come back have to get confidence from that as well. How do you use last year as you continue into this year as well?
We just use it as a reminder that, it is possible. We can do it. And we use more of like the team chemistry part of last year to really emphasize that. I talked, that team really loved each other a lot. Like they cared, they were willing to do whatever it took to make sure the team was successful. So we talk about that more than anything. But it was just, for the returning guys, it was just such a cool experience. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of, for me, it was like reminding me of college. We got to leave school, like 1:00. We got to go all the way to Iowa City, stop at the Corville Mall, let the guys, hang out for a little while. We grabbed lunch there and all that, and then continue on that road trip. It was fun because we were on a coach bus for, 3 hours. So it was really cool. So it was just that great experience, and, we can do it. We can get back there. My message was, next year I want to be the team that someone's traveling to for 3 hours away. We want to be at Brady Street Stadium or Roger Craig Stadium now. That's where we want to be week 1. And that's the exciting thing. And I think our guys can see that happening. And we were 1 game away, during the season, potentially hosting a game. And we came up short. So it's just that nice little reminder of what type of team that was to get there, because we are a different team, and it's just kind of giving us a little bit of a blueprint of how to get back.
You mentioned you're a different team, and this is with every high school and around the area. There's familiar faces that aren't there anymore, and you'd love to, do the college thing and find some court that says they get another couple years or whatever. Can't do that. What do you like about this team? I know you lost a good amount from last year, but you're looking at a fresh soft class that had a ton of success that comes in as juniors. You got some quality seniors as well. What do you like about this year's team, and how's it look for the Wildcats on the field this year?
I'll start defensively. Obviously we're returning our biggest piece is Donovan Holloway, playing outside linebacker for us, first team all district last year. He's really taken on that position he's held for 3 years now. He's really owned that spot. Does a phenomenal job getting guys set. So we're really excited about him returning. Cole Snar, second team all district as a defensive end. So he's got high ceiling this year. We're looking forward to see what he can do. And he transitioned from a linebacker to a defensive end. So we're excited to see him have that full, summer and preseason camp to focus on playing defensive end and see what he can do there. And then we got JJ Johnson, who was a force last year, came out a little bit later. That we're looking forward to. He's got that D1 frame. Chris Perkins took last year, but he's back with us again this year. And then Rayshawn Harris, who's another junior. That's going to be probably playing a little bit of defensive end for us. That was really, really good at the fresh soft level. Like, he was hard to block. Our guy right now in the middle we got a guy named Newell Yates, who does a phenomenal job getting everyone set, playing the middle linebacker. He's the real voice out there, making sure we're all set up. And then, DBs was a wide open spot. One I did forget about is Christian Shorter. He's DB. He's returning. I think he was a second team all district last year. Really high hopes for him. He's one DB that we really feel confident with. We can, he can cover half the field, and it's really exciting. I know Coach Fisher is going to get that defense ready to roll. He does every year. It seems like, in my opinion, watching our defenses, we reload every year. We really don't take steps back, and he does a phenomenal job getting guys ready to go. Offensively, where we feel the most confident, and it's not a knock on my skill guys on it, we're really excited for the first time at North since I've been there. We really are excited about our offensive line. We're returning 3 sophomores who started at least 10 games last year.
Wow.
And so they've got some valuable experience, and we're seeing it now, as we saw throughout the summer, like their understanding of the blocks and how the defense moves. We're seeing a lot of progress from those guys. And then we've got some open spots there. We've got 2 other open spots that guys are battling for, so we're really excited to see that. And then at the skill position right now, we're probably going to end up starting Jet Sheedy, who's a sophomore quarterback for us. When that position came open for him to take it, the kids really rallied around him. They're like, all right, it's his time. And they really didn't flinch, which was awesome. And they were excited to see him go. Our 2 returning receivers is Rhett Butler and Malachi McKern. Both had big years for us. I'm anticipating them even having bigger years. Mal's moving from one position to another. He's going to try to replace David Joyner that we lost to South Dakota State last year and had a phenomenal year for us. So he's done a really, really good job. And then we got a lot of sophomores. I've talking to all my buddies who are in college. I talk about, we're probably going to be young on offense and all that. And I'm just kind of like, and it's crazy. All of them I talk to, they go, being young is not a bad thing. You can get them right away, and they get valuable experience. So we're really excited about that, of having some young guys get out there, get some valuable experience, and cut down on the learning curve a little bit.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Jet, because the Sheedy name is a name that I joke. I always say, like, if I had a dime for every time I called this name, I could have actually retired instead of just starting this goofy little show in my loft. And that's a name. I mean, obviously he goes from Priest and all the way down. I think this is the 4th of the Sheedies. So obviously the lineage is there. I know Dad's on your staff. It's a football family. Just a sophomore. Talk to me about him, and maybe not just his talent, but also his demeanor as well. Might be a sophomore, but I have a feeling he's a sophomore that's been around a lot of high school football during his life, if that's a safe assumption.
Yeah, he's been on the sideline. He's been a water boy. He's been a ball boy. So he's been around the program forever, and it seems like he knows how things are supposed to go. When we were when kids kind of understood that Jet was going to be the guy, I joked. I said, have you ever met a Sheedy that didn't come to practice prepared, love the game of football, and give everything he can on a Friday night? And they said no. And I said, Jet's no different. And if you ask the brothers, they're all going to tell you that Jet's going to be the best one out of the 4 of them. So it's just really exciting, and the kids have gravitated towards him, and he's just taken on the position. He's owned it, and we're really excited about that. When we went to our team camp, the other team we were going against, they were like, your quarterback, he's solid, great runner, can throw the ball and all that. And I'm like, he's only a sophomore. They're like, what? He doesn't carry that sophomore presence to him, which is really exciting.
Adam Hite over at Davenport North joining us on Off There with Matt Randazzo. Coach, you look at yourself, and we joked when you hopped on here and say, Coach, you look awful. And I kid when I say that. Obviously, he looks like $1 million. But is this year 8 for you?
This is eighth. Yeah.
This is eight.
And I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
It's
you
crazy.
Look at where you took this thing over at, and then that's not a negative way of putting it, but you've built something that is pretty special right now in the city of Davenport. And I know that rivalries between the city schools, and this isn't for billboard material or get you in trouble, but you're 6-3, good playoff run, really good performance there. Can you go back to young Adam Hite, energetic Adam Hite, not that you're not still full of energy, but and now and what's not just yourself but the program. You've got to be proud. I know you don't want to focus on you, but you've got to be proud of the program that you all have built over at Davenport North, not just yourself.
And and I say this, it's not me. Like there are still coaches on this staff that were here, and we joke about kind of the dark times at North and everything they've put into that too. And it's been fun to see. And I love giving my coaches opinions, and they probably hate it so much they're probably looking at me like, make a decision. You make this decision, and I'm like, well, I want to know your opinion. But like it's been fun to watch us, and it's been a roller coaster because we've had that 19 to a 30-year-old me was like went 6-3 thinking I'm like, I got this down. Like there is nothing like this is it how it's going to be every year. We're just going to get better. And then, I always joke like for me that I think it was harder for the guy that was the first time head coach in 2019. You get things rolling, you're setting your standards, and then bam, COVID hit. And then everything kind of got wiped. You got to restart it all. And then, COVID, we got our season in luckily, and it was. And the thing I would try to say with that is I learned is that season really proved that each year someone's different. And I think what we were trying to do during COVID was just to survive, the fact that we were playing football and all the regulations, but I was trying to do everything exactly the same, offensively, defensively, special teams wise, and even chemistry wise with that team in 2020 that I did with 2019. And it wasn't the same. It was a different team. And I think that's when I really realized that there. And then every year, I've learned that each team's different. And I think that's the biggest thing I've taken away. And then it's just surrounding yourself with great people. I feel like this year I have a great staff this year. We all work really well together. We got some new young guys on staff that are doing a phenomenal job. They're going to be great coaches come in the future. And it's just exciting time right now. I'm really excited for this year.
Coach, you look at expectations and goals, and everybody does them different. I don't know, like some I'm sure puts them down on a board. This is what we want to do, and some don't talk, just win the day. I know there's the cliches. How do you guys approach expectations and goals? Because I think they saw firsthand what can happen at Davenport North, and part of it might be believing that can happen. And so close to beating a really good team last year. Do you go through and say, all right, I want to get that city thing done, then I want to win game one, or vice versa, and then all the way down to, or how do you address expectations and goals at Davenport North?
We we have a leadership crew that my wife runs. We joke that she's the general manager, and she is the best general manager
Smart
in high
man.
school football.
Smart man.
Yes, and I'll say that. And our kids, we're all in the band app together with parents and all that stuff, and the kids will message her before they message me. So they sat down and came up a list of things that they wanted, and it was in my only expectation was I didn't want it to be that it ends like you said, that win that week one, like that's so important. It's huge. It's a big game, it always is. But if you lose week one, I can't have it be the end of the world. And we've made that mistake at Davenport North where we put so much pressure on week one and then we lose it. And then our kids just basically shut down for the rest of the year. So, so they actually sat down and they talked, and it was, be the best knit team, close knit team as possible, eliminate off-field distractions, practice with a winning mentality, so that's the things that we set our goals for, and it's bringing it all together. And I think that's something that's different. We don't look at the city games anymore because we put too much stake into that. And it's, Central's a non-district game now. It's great to win it and all that, but in the end of the day, if we lose it, we go win our district, we're hosting a playoff game still. Right. So, and then, so we've eliminated that in the whole week one. We want to focus more on ourselves more than anything. How can we be the best team possible? Because if we can do that, everything else will take care of itself.
Coach, you mentioned year 8 and you mentioned delegating a little bit and you have a great staff. I want to talk to you about that staff because I guess you're old now. What are you, 38? What are you right now?
38.
So you're 38, and that I want to slap you because you're not old. I'm old, but you have younger guys that you've added to the staff that know a lot about high school football, know about the game itself. Kind of talk to me the mix, maybe the new additions on your staff, and then the mix as well, because you mentioned just a little bit ago, you have guys that were there during the days before you and the dark day, whatever you want to call those, and been around a while. And then you got the fresh blood that kind of probably brings some energy as well. Tell me about the new guys and what's it mean to have that fresh energy part of your staff this year.
One thing for years that kind of bugged me as a coach at North was we went like, I want to say, now it's been 8. We went about my first 5 years at North with no alumni on staff. And for some reason that bugged me. And I was like, we need to get one person in here that knew, that has just that different pride in Davenport North. And we got one a couple years ago. I hired Craig Cooper, who's one of my offensive line coaches there, who played at North, played at Simpson, played at Iowa State. So he came in with that little more North pride and was able to really talk to kids about what it means to play for Davenport North. And he was there a little bit with successful time, excuse me. So that was big. And then now this year, we're excited because TJ Sheedy, he's been a part of the YSF program and has just been a part of North football, not at the high school level, but at other various levels below that. He finally approached me, and I've mentioned it in the past. I go, when you're ready, man, like we'd love to have you come out and coach. Yeah. Like when you're ready. And he was kind of like, this kid, I don't think will take it very well. He'd be okay. And then he was like, I think Jet would, he's going to coach DBs and Jet's going to play quarterback. So we're opposite of each other and all that. And he came to me, he's like, I'd like to start coaching. I was like, done, like come on board and let's get this going here. And it's been great because the kids know him because he's probably coached almost all of them through the YSF ranks. So that he's got that great relationship with that. And he's still part of the YSF stuff. So he's got his ear close to the ground there for me to help out. And then this year we're fortunate enough to get some like younger guys in. I remember when Cade came back after a game, he literally came to hug me and all that stuff. And he was like, said to me, he goes, hey, save a stipend for me because as soon as I graduate, I'm coming back to coach here. And I was like, okay. And I never forgot that. And we just kept a stipend on the side because I'm like, well, when Cade gets here, and he lived up to it because the moment he moved back to Davenport, he was at the next practice ready to go. So we're excited to have Cade Sheedy a part of it. I mean, Grandview, 2-time national championship, first team all conference, first team all American linebacker. I mean, that's just such great knowledge for those kids. And I think it gives us a little bit of a fresh perspective, on what teams are doing at the college level. So we're really excited about that. And then what I'm excited about too on the offensive side is we got to hire Zach Chevalier from Morningside College. He first team All-American, first team All-Conference. He won the Walter Camp Player of the Year for NAIA football as a junior. He's coming in to coach quarterbacks for us this year. And him and Jet hit it off right away. He came to our team camp, so he was doing other stuff during the summer, so he couldn't quite be there. And he drove the 5 hours from Morningside to Platteville, Wisconsin, coached for us for 3 days, headed home to finish up packing. And then Sunday night, he pulled into my house at like 7:30, 8 o'clock with his car and his loaded down with all of his belongings, and he started coaching Monday morning. So, and he's been a great addition. Our quarterbacks just look more confident back there, and I'm not coaching them, so that definitely helps. Not having a former college center coaching quarterback, so that's been a huge addition for us. So those two are coming in, just bringing some energy and all that stuff, and just giving us as coaches, make sure we're not stuck in our ways. And both of them have brought new ideas and how we can, improve the offense and the defense. So it's really exciting.
Adam Hite joining us on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. A few more for you before I let you get out of here. Obviously, it starts in a little more, about 3 weeks from tomorrow. And you guys have Muscatine, and it's not a district game, but it's an important game. You get 9 of them every year. Yes, the district ones are probably a little more important when it comes to the standings, but every one of them are important. If what needs to get done between now and 3 weeks from now in game one? In your mind, I'm sure you could probably talk for a half hour about the things that need to get done. But what are the main things that you guys want to focus on as you guys get ready for the Muskies coming up in 3 weeks?
Well, I'll say this now because I know my players are watching. Get your physicals uploaded into Varsity Bound, and then get your parents to sign off on your concussion form, your code of conduct form, and get you registered for football on Varsity Bound. So that's what the players need to do.
There you
Like
go.
that comes first and foremost.
Check.
But for us, it's check that off, and then I can be able to sleep knowing that my guys are ready to go. But for us, it's getting better every single day. Focusing on what we need to do, not worry about, Muscatine runs, an option offense, a little bit of wing tee. So we got to change up how we do our defense and all that stuff. But right now it's just fine tuning everything. And our guys are doing a phenomenal job with that. Our coaches are coaching their butts off right now. I know some of our guys are ready to we've been doing morning practices here. But our guys are ready to transition to the afternoon. And I think for us as a team, what I've noticed when we make that transition to the afternoon, I think it starts to set in a little more with the kids and the coaches that it's football season's coming because we're practicing in the afternoon, like school year's coming, football's coming. And for me, when we start moving to the afternoons, I can see that light at the end of the tunnel a little bit, like it's game days is coming.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Some dumb questions before I let you go. I like to ask the stupid ones. Rumor has it you might and your wife might enjoy going to the Mississippi Valley Fair, if that's fair to say. Mm-hmm. And so give me the best concert you've ever seen in person. It doesn't have to be from the Mississippi Valley Fair. If it is, that's great. But what's the best concert that Adam Hite has ever been at?
We took Zach last night, so this is the furthest east he's ever been, so he had no idea what was going on. So it was funny. We got there, we got to see, and then he got to run into Cade Sheedy. So those two were broing it up and all that. Because again, and I'm just trying to be that. You're trying to be young again and that cool, but
there you go.
They asked us that last night, and for us, like our favorite concert in Mississippi for me and my wife was when Toby Keith was there. I think about 4 years ago. Like that was it was packed. We had great spot in the pit. My wife's a pit girl, so she's making sure I'm down there to like box people out so she can stand there, and all that. But yeah, it would be Toby Keith was probably our favorite concert there. And then years ago, me and her went to see Florida Georgia Line opened up for Luke Bryant. I would say that was probably our favorite concert. Me and her together at the Mark.
I love it.
Whatever it's named. I don't even know.
If the listeners and viewers haven't figured it out, Adam's wife's a badass. She's awesome. She's the GM. She's also a constant going, fun-loving girl. So I think people got to give her credit where credit's due. Get some brownie points. I think we all know who the cool one of the two is.
We joked that she lives in a frat house. Like it's me, our son Hunter, our dog Ranger, and then whatever football players happen to be coming over. They were out doing their blitz a couple weeks ago. And next thing I got a picture on my phone of like 10 football players sitting on my couch because they were doing the blitz in our neighborhood.
That's awesome.
So she claims she lives in a frat house.
I love it. Hey, if I've asked the questions of this to the coaches this week, and I've kind of let some of them off the hook because they're like, I would just coach basketball. Or I would just coach. Well, I'm not letting you coach. If you couldn't coach, what would you be doing with your life right now?
Coaching high school.
Yeah, if you can't coach sports, you can't coach sports.
Like not even my sons.
No, I mean, youth stuff. You could, but for a living, what would you be doing?
If I couldn't coach, I probably would be a firefighter. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
My dad was a firefighter in the Chicago suburbs, and that was my plan all the way up through college. I was gonna go be a PE teacher, and then get into play football, be a PE teacher, and then I was gonna go back home and go to LG Community College to get my associates in fire science after I got my bachelor's, which was backwards. But that's what my dad told me. He goes, "Hey, go get your master or your bachelor's first, get something that you can rely on,
sure,
and then come home and we'll get you in there and you can go become a firefighter that way." And I just got hooked on the coaching part. So I probably would be a firefighter if if I wasn't a coach.
Some would say that flames and putting out fires is less dangerous than dealing with parents and coaching. I mean, probably about the same thing, but I digress when it comes to those kind of things. Give me some food. Like if you have to celebrate a victory, you have an anniversary coming up or birthday or whatever, it's time to go eat. Where are the Heights going and what are they hitting up for food? What's the favorites?
So we just started this, me and my wife, we just started this. So my in-laws love taking our son for a night. So we actually I'll get on and I'll make reservations at St. Barge, I think it is in Iowa City.
Okay.
And then Barada, I think it's Barada right next door. Like they're like, it's like right downtown by the old Capitol building. So like I'll make a reservation at St. Barge or St. Burge, whatever it is, at like 6:45 is what we did. We did this literally last Friday. So we'll make a reservation there at 6:45. We'll go there. We'll have the seafood tower and an appetizer there and some drinks. And then next we'll literally walk out, go right next door to, I think it's called Barada. It's the Italian restaurant there. And then we'll do like pizza or pasta, all that. And then we'll maybe every once in a while we'll head over. I think it's the View, the hotel that's got the bar up top. We'll head there, we'll grab a drink there, and then we jump in the car and we drive home.
So you make me look like a lazy husband. You make husbands everywhere look awful right now. In fact, I think it was Welch brought up.
For food.
Coach Welch brought up, like, where do you take your wife on? And I'm like, and we just had an anniversary. And when you get to year 18, like, and you're on vacation, you don't go to, I owe her a dinner. But what I've done is I've just gone to social media and said, hey, my wife and I's anniversary, we're celebrating it. Give me a good place to go. And it's amazing how people will jump on there and tell you where to eat. So, which is a beautiful thing as well. Last but not least, superstitions. Are you superstitious when it comes to football? I have a feeling a young Adam Hite was like ridiculously stupid when it comes to superstitions. Are you still that way? Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I was very much when I was younger. If I won a game, like everything that I wore, I would go down to the basement, it would go in the pile in the corner, and like that, I washed that all together by itself and then that would be what I wore again the next week. Like we're talking socks, underwear, undershirt, like whatever it was, I'm wearing that again. I've gotten away from that a little bit. I would say it's our superstition or just our kind of our tradition, but we'll do the team dinner on Thursday night. I usually don't eat it. Like I make sure the kids eat, and then I just kind of hang out. It's what my wife brings our son up there at that time, and that's kind of my hour that I get to hang out with him a little bit and talk to him while the kids are eating. And then Sarah will go to Culver's and she'll get Culver's. So it's always bacon, double bacon cheeseburger deluxe with cheese curds, and then it's chocolate custard with Reese's and Heath. And if we win, I eat that again the next week. If we lose, I have to completely change up the menu. And,
will you stay at Culver's and just change? Will you stay at Culver's and change the food, or will you change the establishment?
We stay at Culver's.
Okay, good man. I would argue, and I know you said, and this is way too much food for people watching, but I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. The curds are really good. I, for one, think the onion rings from Culver's are the best fast food side in the game. Is that crazy? My wife, that's what she gets. She's chicken tenders and onion rings. That's what she goes for. Your wife just keeps going up and up and up in my eyes. I'm telling you, this interview has done nothing but made her a star in my eyes. And that's probably the most important thing, right?
She is.
Yes, I was going to say, if we accomplish something out of this, I think that's the important thing.
She runs our youth camp. Like I'm on the field, I'll deal with the kids. She's got to deal with the parents and the registration. So we finally got our youth camp going Monday night. And I'm like, where is she at? And I go in, and we had 31 walk-ups to our youth camp. Wow. So I come in there. She's in there writing all the kids' names on the certificates, signing my name. And then, she hands the certificate to a mom. The mom is stuffing these envelopes. It was like an assembly line. And I was like, you guys good in here? And she I just got the look. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go back to the field and deal with 97
the look. Adam,
out here.
Explain the look to me, Adam. Go on. Tell me more.
It was just don't talk to me. I was like,
yeah, hey, dude, I get that look like 4 times a day. Like my wife hates me, so it's okay. It's okay. We all know about the look. So as we always say,
can I do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got one more thing before we go. I got to so that you guys know, August 22nd.
Okay.
Me, Coach Berg, Coach Westfall, from Central, we're going to be, and Weston Central, we're going to be doing the Over the Edge for the Boys and Girls Club at the Black Hawk Hotel.
That's awesome.
So check our social medias out. People want to donate money and all that. But yeah, so we're going to be there. We're all going to do it. We're going to be a team for that. So our district wants us to do together, and we all said yes, we would do it. So
that's outstanding. So you're not competing against each other. You're on a team.
Well, I mean, it might turn into like me and Berg. I mean, we go back. We grew up 2 towns away from each other, so it might turn into like who can get down the fastest. I don't know.
Well, just jump, man. Just jump. It's gravity. Anybody can get down fast. It's just whether you want to win the right way.
Me and him are 2 former college offensive linemen, so that might be a fast.
Send me the link for it, and we'll get it up in all the social media we do as well, and continue to promote that. And I'll probably talk to those guys before those times anyway, so we'll keep promoting that as well. Hey, keep doing great things. Best of luck this season. You're up to number 2 on the Iowa side. Next year, like you keep winning, maybe next number 1.
Keep winning.
We'll see how. Well, I don't want to make fun of Gilly, but it wasn't winning was not a criterion on whether you win first or not. No offense to Gilly. So, but appreciate you as always, my man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot. Go Cats.
Awesome. That is Adam Hite, head coach over at Davenport North, doing a fantastic job. It's crazy because I think of him as one of the young, energetic coaches, and he still is. So if he's hearing this, he still is. But 8 years, it feels like yesterday he just got here. So he's done a great job, and exciting to see what the Wildcats do this year, and intrigued with Jet Sheedy. Again, the Sheedy name, all those kids, I said Sheedy a lot on TV. If I had a dime, I'd probably be able to retire for real. So we got a little more to get to. You're watching OTA. It's a Thursday in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Big Ten Media Days were the center focus last week in Chicago. We talked a ton of Iowa athletics. We had Scott Docterman on Monday talking about both Iowa football, Illinois football. Doc spent Friday last weekend down in Champaign. And so there's always something to talk about when it comes to Illini. And there's a big injury that I think Illinois fans should be breathing maybe a sigh of relief instead of panic, if that makes any sense. Joining us now, talk a little Illini, Mike Cagley from the Illini Guys. How are you, my friend?
My feet are doing fine. I'm a little bit better than Merck. That's a good thing. Yeah. But yeah, we're chugging along down in Champaign, trying to keep people calm, cool, and collected with Illinois' past history of when things start going good. That's when you get nervous as an Illinois fan.
Yeah,
people are a little nervous.
No, absolutely. Before we get into Illinois stuff, rate SummerSlam on a 1 to 10. We'll do both nights. Do both nights, Saturday, Sunday.
I would say I would give maybe a 7 to Saturday and an 8 to Sunday. I am one who likes the storyline, and generally the crazier the better. So it was a little too much wrestling for me. I need to have insane antics, and unfortunately Danhausen, being roughly the size of a 10-year-old, doesn't really do much for me. No. So I have to admit I really miss the KO and Jericho Festival of Friendship. Yeah. I would literally cry. I would laugh so hard during those. Yeah. And I've always been a big one for factions. So whether it was the Four Horsemen, the Heenan family going all the way back to the AWA, the obviously the bloodline. So I kind of enjoy the factions, and I'm hoping at some point they get back into that. I know they don't want to lean into it and make it totally repetitive, so I understand that, but I do miss those days.
I'll agree that I felt like, and I'm a storyline guy too. I'm that guy on Monday night that'll like fast forward through, half the match in order to see what happens at the end. So I can get through an episode of Raw pretty quickly. But I felt it was thrown together. The way they wanted the matches, so they moved things around. I mean, there was no storyline between Baron Corbin and Trick Williams unless you go back to the past a little bit. So I did think it was thrown together. I did enjoy SummerSlam, but we're not here talking about SummerSlam, so people are going to get cranky with me. Yeah. Illinois basketball, we're going to start with that, and usually here we are August 5th, 6th, whatever it is, I think the 6th, and I'd be talking about Illinois football. But let's quickly talk basketball because David Mirkovic had surgery on his foot. We're 12 weeks away from the start of college basketball season. I think 45 days away from the opening of practice. I've heard 6 to 8 weeks. What do you know about the injury? What have you heard? And I think, honestly, Illinois fans, while I know they're a little pessimistic, should be breathing a sigh of relief because it sounds like he should be back and ready to go.
Yeah, we think so. Thankfully, if you're a subscriber to Illini Guys, you got Sturdy and Ked, who are very tied in with people. I've talked to sources close to the program as well. I don't detect a huge panic. You know how you can kind of tell when you're communicating with somebody, but whether they're on edge. Now, nobody's happy. They're not like, oh, great, he got injured, that type of thing. But there isn't this feeling of impending doom. That's more the fans as opposed to that. And there seems to be a pathway to his recovery. And, of course, if you're to go to the training center that Illinois has, at Ubben, how guys recover from games and injuries, as opposed to just working out just to prevent them. So you look at Morez with his hand injury a couple of years ago that literally took, 3.5, 4 weeks. People didn't know how long that was going to be. He recovered quickly. So they've got a really good history of that. So people are hoping that, he's out and people are hoping it's more of a blip in his off-season conditioning than how it affects the season. How he heals as a human being, anybody who's a doctor or has played one on TV, it does, everybody heals individually speaking. He's young in really good health. We would expect he'll be back and, not a big deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Mike Cagley joining us from the Illini Guys off the air with Matt Randazzo. Not to play into the pessimism or the panic, but if there's a guy in Illinois basketball this year that just you can't lose, and there's probably several. That's the thing, is this team's really loaded. But if there's one guy, is it David Mirkovic? We've talked on this show with you about, maybe a lottery pick and, first round pick, those type of things. He was so impactful last season, especially late in the season. Is that the guy, if you want to put in bubble wrap and make sure he's good for the season, like that's probably going to be him, or is it someone else?
I would have said that probably at the end of last season, but then, we've had, some guys on who've watched practice, and then we're hearing that Tomislav Ivicic has just been unbelievable. And of course he's coming off a season where he's coming into this season without any, crazy surgery, no tonsillectomy, no mono, no injury to the foot, no twist in the knee, knock on wood. So he's playing spectacularly right now. Mm-hmm. Quentin Coleman is wowing people. People saw him, of course, in the international arena, just a month ago, where he was averaging double-doubles for Team USA. So, and I think the unheralded guy, the guy who's probably going to wow people, is Stefan Vox. At 6'7", this guy's got a little bit of Luka in him, including sometimes the unwillingness to play defense and the willingness to debate with referees on the quality of their calls. But I think this guy is one who's underrated. And then we have to remember, if you look at Stojakovic, the way he played when he said, for the first time all season, I felt good, that was his NCAA run.
Yeah.
So Brad Underwood has stacked this deck pretty well. One hopes that, I don't ever want to see a player get hurt,
Absolutely.
For example, you think of some of the battles that Kofi and Luka Garza had, Kofi and Edie had. I didn't want to see any of those guys get hurt. You just want to see them compete and see, who can be the better man on any given night. So I'm hoping that this is something that he'll get back from, but there's a lot of opportunities, and so this just gives somebody else the next man up. And what would be even better was to see Mirk come back with no ill effects, and maybe in that ensuing, 6 weeks, somebody else gets some confidence, and now you've got another guy that Brad Underwood is saying, I didn't know I had this piece, but now I do, and I can use him as well. So we'll see. I'm ever the optimist, being somebody who's been in sales my whole career. You learn that if somebody tells you no, you got to leave that and go to the next person. And so in this case, while I love the Illini players, it's time for somebody else to step up and Mirk to be able to rest and heal, and hopefully somebody else can fill that void in the meantime.
No, absolutely. Injuries in late July, early August, a lot better than injuries in October or November when it comes to the Illini's sake. Football-wise, media days were last week. Before we talk about the team itself, I want to get into that a little bit, but you look at Brett last week, Bielema at the Big Ten media days, and there he is leading things off, taking a jab at the SEC, which was fantastic. And you go through the litany of the bowl game and this thing. I mean, he brings attention to Illinois. I remember watching later in the day, and like Rutgers got up there and Maryland or whatever, and I'm like, honestly, I felt differently covering Illinois and being around it, but like, a lot of times on the Big Ten media days, somebody got up there and talked about Illinois and can they win 5 games? Those kind of things. Is this the season they might get to a bowl? He's won 19 games in 2 years, and he calculatedly, if that's a word, I think it made it up. He brings attention to Illinois. And it's calculated. Just kind of talk about that, because he's no dummy. He knows exactly what he's doing and when he does it. He's not a crazy lunatic by any stretch of the imagination, but he picks his spots pretty well, doesn't he?
Yeah, now that Lane Kiffin is sworn off, going on social media, it kind of leaves Brett Bielema as the premier coaching talent for being able to troll effectively, and he does it quite well. It's a lot of fun, and it's always fun when you're winning, and when you put together 19 wins in 2 seasons at Illinois, you might as well be Moses parting the Red Sea. Illinois fans such as myself, I'll be 60 next year. I look back at the Illini of Mike White era and then John Mackovic for a few years as being, the holy grail. And if Bielema can win 9 or 10 games this year, and it's not an automatic, it's Illinois, but if he could win 9 or 10 games this year, I don't know that even in my mind's eye, I thought that was possible for an Illinois football coach. So you can talk about, what's going on in Champaign, and you got the biggest scoreboard in the country and all these things, but Bielema tends to figure out how to win football games, and you really lose a lot if you think he's just a chucklehead coach, because that's not what he is. He's a smart guy. He's very organized, and he watches what he does. And, I've said for a long time, I've interviewed him, more than a couple times. And when he scratches his nose with his left hand like this at 10 a.m. in the morning, you feel like it's on a checklist that he was going to scratch his nose with his left hand at 10 a.m. in the morning. He's got that degree of organization. And, you see a big coach, a big guy who knows football, and you think, a lot of people think, oh, this is a meathead coach, maybe the mold of Mike Ditka, and that is not what Brett Bielema is. He puts a lot more thought, organization, and consideration for what he does. I'm not saying he's perfect or anything like that. Nobody is, but he's a way better coach than he gets a respect for. I've said this 1,000 times. Illini Guys fans are tired of it, but no offense. If you put Ryan Day in Champaign and you put Brett Bielema in Ohio State, I guarantee you one thing: Ohio State has a chance of being better under Brett Bielema than they are under Ryan Day. I'm not so certain that without the big money and all the pieces of that Ohio State machinery, that Ryan Day would be better than Brett Bielema in Champaign.
Absolutely. Mike Cagley joining us on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. One thing that was that put out last week with Big Ten Media Days was the media, who's always right, never gets anything wrong, their projected preseason poll, if you will. I want to put up on the screen because we talked a lot about it last week, and you see Iowa, Illinois right there, 8 and 9. And I had some people on the show that would say, like, what's the difference between Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin? Like, you could probably put them in a bag or a hat and pull them out. And I think the reason why maybe Illinois is 9 there and not 12 or vice versa is that they have won 9 games and 10 games, and they've won 19 games in the last 2 years. The proof is in the pudding for Illinois. PJ, I think there's a streak of 8 games. Somehow, some way, their schedule's been really weak. They don't play anybody, and they've eventually figured out a way to win a bowl game and get to 7 or 8, whatever it's been. Nebraska's Nebraska, and Luke Fickell might be coaching for his job. He probably is. Looking at this media poll and putting Illinois at 9, is that fair? Is there a team? If they're a team that they should move up over, or should they be on the other side of the screen?
I think they're probably for appropriate is maybe where they're at. You could argue Iowa, Illinois. Iowa's always going to have the defensive edge, it seems like, but they're also going to find ways to have quarterbacks who can't do anything when it comes game day. Washington beat Illinois last year, so it's hard to scream and yell about that. Penn State is under Matt Campbell. We'll see how good Matt is. Winning at Iowa State is impressive. Now doing it where you're supposed to win, that's something that James Franklin struggled with, at least when he played 2 teams in the Big Ten. Michigan's the one that I have a lot of respect for Coach. Coming out of Utah, Kyle's he is a stud, but I'm not certain if Underwood is ready to be a primetime quarterback. We will find out. If he is, then that 5 may be underachieving. If he's not, who knows? USC, I don't believe in Lincoln Riley till he's able to do it. Now, everybody else in that school, the administration, the organization they've built around him, everybody else there has responded that we're going to become the old USC. I don't know if they got the right coach in place. He'll have a chance to prove that this year. And then that top 3, I think they have separated themselves from the rest of the Big Ten. And, Oregon's the one that's got to get that albatross off their back and win a national title. So as I look at it, if a really partial Illinois fan would say, hey, put us at a little higher up there. We beat USC last year, et cetera. But you got to earn your keep, and all those schools ahead of Illinois have been more consistent for a longer period of time. Now, if Brett Bielema had been at Illinois for 20 years, maybe Illinois is higher up that chart. And of course, maybe a lot of us don't have so many wrinkles from watching horrible football on Saturday afternoons because of what his ability to turn things around. So it's hard to get too excited. I will tell you, when you look at, Minnesota at 10th, I think UCLA could surprise some people as well. The Big Ten's a lot tougher than it used to be. And you're going to see the Purdue, Rutgers, Michigan State, Maryland squads, they're going to have to really keep going to keep up with the rest of the Big Ten right now. This is a dog-eat-dog conference now, just like the SEC has been for a long time.
Yeah, you look at it, Mike, and I look at like a Nebraska. They act fan-wise like they've had the results that Illinois has had the last couple of years. Like, they act as a fan base like they've won 9 and 10 games or whatever, 10 and 9 games, whatever it was.
Yep.
And Illinois has actually done it. I think when you look at the left-hand side, what maybe, and as an Iowa guy, I'm like, wait a minute, like, Washington, Penn State, like there's teams that you could, like, I'm with you with Michigan. Like, Iowa has a stretch where they got to go to Michigan, Ohio State at home, and then at Washington back to back to back. It's what everybody in Iowa City and the Iowa side talks about. Michigan might be the most winnable game on that, going to the Big House. It might sound crazy, but wait and see with that. But I think those teams above Iowa and Illinois don't have the quarterback question. And I'm not saying Illinois has a huge question. I think Caitlin Hauser, people are going to like, and I think he's going to do fine. But there's still a question mark of a new quarterback coming in and taking the reins. Iowa doesn't know yet. They might not know till the Iowa State game week 2 which one it is. But you look above that, and everybody's got their quarterback, their guy. I don't know if Bryce Underwood's the answer at Michigan. He was underwhelming last year, but I think that. But you look at Iowa, real quick, Mike, and Iowa and Illinois. Maybe they have questions at quarterback, but you look at it like Illinois, maybe some questions up front. And maybe on the defensive side of the football, replacing some people. And while Iowa might have those, we've talked about this in the past. Like, Iowa has Phil Parker on the defense. So if anyone wants to worry about, the defensive line or those areas, it's Phil Parker, it's Iowa. Like, you lean on that. George Barnett is a fantastic offensive line coach, and while they saw 3 offensive linemen get drafted, they got another 2 offensive linemen that'll probably be first rounders, and they just turn them over. So I think that might differentiate Iowa and Illinois early on, is they both might have intriguing quarterback questions to see how they pan out. But the fact that the other positions that maybe Illinois worries about or has questions at, I don't want to say worries at, Iowa has. So we've talked about that. I did a fun podcast with you guys, and we talked about what the difference was between maybe Iowa and Illinois. And while Brett's doing what he's doing, it's the people around him that make Kirk so good. I mean, Kirk's fantastic, but it's those Phil Parkers and those George Barnetts and Seth Wallaces that have been doing it forever. Getting his staff around him maybe a little more settled is something that I'm intrigued by this year with the Fighting Illini as well. Where are you with this team? You were a little pessimistic when I talked to you maybe in the past. Have you warmed to this team a little more? Where are you at with Illinois?
I got to see
your thoughts.
I got to see if they can stop the run. They could be a 6-6 team. If you look at it, they could be 9-3 if you just go by the games they're favored. They could be 9-3, but there's a couple games there that are basically almost coin flips. So that gives you some wiggle room if they can stop the run. And again, you have to. This is the part I try to talk to the more pessimistic Illini fans, is you have to be able to sit down and say, okay, if you're going to trust a coach, can't you trust Brett Bielema? And so he seems to be content with this defense, and the personnel they have can get him there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Since Brett knows more about football than I am, I'm more than willing to say I'm concerned, but he seems to know what he's doing. Yeah. If they can stop the run, I think they'll be okay. And I just don't think it's fair to Hauser to put him in a position that Luke Altmaier was in, where, hey, we need you, 4 times a season to win a game on the last possession. Because Altmaier was amazing, especially when you look the last 2 years. I mean, he went, I don't know, something like 10 or 11 interceptions. So he threw an INT every other game. So that gets pretty incredible. And then you throw in the number of big plays he made, either with his arm or with his legs late in the game. It's not fair to expect some guy to show up here and be able to do that. But Hauser's reportedly got a stronger arm, and he's a thicker, more powerful runner. So he's going to bring his gifts to the fore, and we'll just see how good he is. If he's able to be 90% of Luke Altmaier in terms of playing in the clutch, Illinois will be pretty good, unless other teams are sitting on 260 yards rushing.
It's funny because two things I want to point out. One, as a Lions fan, I know this. Luke Altmaier's having a really good camp. In fact, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about Teddy Bridgewater, the actual backup quarterback, and he had his first day where he was actually better than Luke Altmaier. And that's how good Luke's been. I think if they get – I don't know if the Lions, and no offense to Luke Altmaier because I think he's going to stick in the league, but I don't know if maybe a Super Bowl contender wants to go into a season with a undrafted rookie as their but he will make that team. He's going to be around, whether it's practice squad. I mean, he's going to be part of that. So just remember that, Illinois fans. You got a guy that's going to play in the league that was there last year. Also, your floor. You just mentioned your floor, and I think this is fair. A floor is 6-7, like 6 wins, like that. Illinois fans, 6 wins is the floor. 5-6 wins is the floor. Like that's like all these Illinois fans that get cranky because they didn't make the playoffs last year. Hey, look what's happened under Brett Bielema. Yeah, if things go our way, it's a very similar, maybe not. I think Iowa might be a notch above right now when it comes to expectations.
They are right now, yeah.
Yeah, but like that's where it's going, and I don't know if Illinois fans remember that, or hopefully they realize that as well. Before I let you go, this weekend the screen is being debuted. I think it's cool what they're doing. They're going to have a movie to 6,000 square foot screen. Scott Docterman started the week talking about it on Monday and says it's as impressive as you can imagine. Your thoughts on it? I know it's going to be impressive. I think it's going to add to the game day experience, which I think has gotten a lot better at Memorial Stadium and can continue to get better. So I think it's good, but it's an expensive big screen. Your thoughts on how exciting fans should be, or just in general on the big screen? I think it's cool.
I think you've got to look. They've done a lot to make the game day experience better. They've put, I don't know, 10 million or something into the internet to make sure you can actually get connected, which in today's world is great, because if you are winning a football game and you got people live tweeting it and all that, that's what you want to get that going. The screen, we've heard in the neighborhood of $30-40 million. So you've got all these improvements, to the stadium and the fan experience. And of course, the biggest thing that people talk about is, we need more money. We'd like to have, we'd like to look at what Texas Tech does with Cody Campbell writing checks, and of course, Cody Campbell's also writing laws, trying to make sure that, his team, he gets in, he can get a piece of the pie. But it does show you that you actually have the ability to affect things by getting NIL and turning those into players. And again, we go back to my point in my diatribe earlier. If Brett Bielema has 10 more million and he can spread around, does that mean he's got, 2 more offensive linemen and another 2 more defensive linemen and 2 more linebackers, let's say, instead, and maybe, another offensive lineman? I don't know. I think the thing that we see that's so important and underrated everywhere is you look at what Illinois has with the basically having a general manager over there that helps Underwood with rosters and stuff and figures out how you rate players and how you pay players. And he's been spot on along with the coaching staff on their analysis of players. You have to have that going at a football program as well as the donors to give you the money. So this is becoming the pro model is becoming very, very, ingrained, but you'll see that it's a lot harder to pull it off in college because the guys at North Carolina, Belichick and company, they could do that in the NFL, but that's when you got 4, 5, 6 years of video on players, and you can find that, quote, diamond in the rough because you're only searching, maybe 300, 400 players versus you're trying to recruit a high schooler. You think you're going to find a diamond in the rough. Well, I can tell you one thing. If somebody would have thought I was the diamond in the rough in the mid 80s coming out of Muhammad Seymour, that would have been a pretty sad diamond. So it's not easy to do, and having a really good, I don't care what your title is, general manager is what I call it, but having that for your football program and your basketball program, along with a really good fundraiser, along with a really good developmental staff, is critical, especially when Ohio State's going to battle, let's say, with 40 million, and you're going to battle with 20. And that's where Kirk Ferentz and Brett Bielema are their equalizers for the cash flow because they're good at what they do, and they usually have staffs that can develop people. But boy, it'd be nice to see. I'm not obviously so much to see Kurt with a big budget, but I'd like to see Brett. I'd like to see Brett with one, with a bigger one.
No, absolutely. It's crazy the way the changing of college sports, and it's going to continue to change. So we'll see what happens over the next several years. He's Mike Cagley. He's from the Illini Guys. Make sure if you're not subscribing to the Illini Guys, if you're an Illini fan and you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the Illini Guys, what are you doing with your life? Like, let's reevaluate and think about, what are we doing? Shame on you. Exactly. And next time we're going to maybe look at some wardrobe for the Illini Guys. We'll talk about that next time as well. Football season's right around the corner. I always appreciate you, my friend. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you.
Awesome. That is Mike Cagley from the Illini Guys. And I joke, but I don't joke. If you're an Illinois fan in the Quad Cities, wherever you're watching this, they're locked in. Like, he's giving you stuff that you would have known 2 days ago if you would have been subscribed to the Illini Guys. So get locked in ASAP. And college football, less than a month away. And I think everyone is excited to get rocking and rolling. Coming up after the break, we got much more to get to. It's OTA, and it's a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. We'll be right back.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off Air with Matt Randazzo. Here, conversation with him, his time at Iowa, here in the Quad Cities, Geneseo, obviously. Interned for me at WQAD as well. So great to see Zach doing big things, and he's just getting started in what should be an awesome, awesome career for him. And also, more importantly, wife and baby on the way. So great catching up with Zach Mackey earlier today as well. Also, we had our OTA high school football previews continue with a chat with Adam Hite over Davenport North. If you missed that, go check it out. And then, of course, talking Illini with Mike Cagley from the Illini Guys as well. So a busy Thursday here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. Coming up tomorrow, we'll continue our high school football previews. 2 weeks from tomorrow is the start of high school football season. 1 week from tomorrow, we'll be live in Iowa City for our OTA at Iowa Football Media Day special show, 2:30 to 4:30. That'll be coming up on Friday, August 14th. Don't forget this weekend, Sunday, come see us at the Other Bar from 4 to 6:30. Myself, Greg Armstrong, a lot of coaches from around the area talking high school football on the Illinois side of the river. Excited about it. View from the West kickoff show. We're going to go down there today and make sure everything's ready to rock and roll, and we'll see everybody coming up on Sunday out at the Other Bar as well. So should be a busy time here on OTA. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate our sponsors as well. Don't forget a brand new sponsor here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, the Black and Gold Shop. Football season's right around the corner. If you're going to head up to Iowa City for games or stay down here for games as well, and you need some Hawkeye apparel, go head over and check out the Black and Gold Shop over in Davenport as well, and get some great Iowa apparel. So also thank you to all our other sponsors. Some fun things coming up. We're going to start doing OTA on the road on Fridays when high school football starts. Athletes of the Weeks are coming up. We have post shows for Iowa football. Nest guests returning very soon. So a lot of great things getting going and continuing and coming back here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. So we appreciate you guys watching. We will see you guys next time. Coming up tomorrow on OTA. We'll see you then.